When we think about aging, we usually picture the number of candles on a birthday cake. But what if the real story of how old we are is happening on a level we can't even see?
What if things that happened to you decades ago, when you were a kid, left this kind of invisible mark on your body, one that's quietly speeding up your internal clock right now? And get this, what if some of our totally normal modern habits, things we all do every week, could actually fast forward the aging process at a speed that is, frankly, pretty shocking? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on these hidden forces. We're going to explore the science that shows what's really controlling your biological clock, and more importantly, what the latest research says about how you can start taking control yourself. Okay, first things first. To understand any of this, we have to grasp one crucial concept. We all have two different ages. On one side, you've got your chronological age. That's your birthday, right? The number of laps you've made around the sun. That number is fixed. But then on the other side, there's your biological age. And this is the true age of your cells, your tissues, your organs. And here's the fascinating part. This age is flexible. It can actually be older or younger than your chronological age. And it's influenced by everything from stress and sleep to your daily habits. So what's the first hidden force we're talking about? Well, it turns out it's one that can stick with us for a lifetime. Stress, especially the kind from our early years. A massive study called Midlife in the United States uncovered something pretty startling. They found that chronic stress during childhood, it doesn't just go away. It can permanently retune your body's entire stress response system, your internal alarm, basically keeping it on high alert for decades to come. Now, I know this diagram might look a little complicated, but the story it tells is actually really simple. The study found a direct, straight line. More stress when you're a kid led to higher levels of a key stress hormone, even decades later in middle age. And those higher hormone levels were directly linked to more damage inside their cells. It's like a biological echo from the past, causing real physical harm in the present. So, what happens to all these damaged cells? This is where it gets a little bit sci-fi. A process called cellular senescence kicks in. Instead of just dying off like they should, these damaged cells enter this weird limbo state. They stop dividing, but they don't die. They hang around, becoming what scientists literally call zombie cells. And the problem is, they start spewing out these inflammatory chemicals that damage all the healthy cells around them, creating this terrible domino effect of aging. It's such a big deal that there's a whole new class of drugs being developed called senolytics, just to clear out these zombie cells. Okay, so if childhood stress is like a slow-burning fire, our next force is like throwing gasoline on it. I'm talking about the high-speed threat of losing sleep. We tend to think of aging as this slow, gradual process, but some things can put it into overdrive. So just how fast can your body really age? Researchers at the University of Chicago were determined to find out. They took a group of healthy young guys, and for just 1 week, they cut their sleep back to less than 5 hours a night. Now, that's a tough week for sure, but let's be honest, how many of us have had a week just like that, for work, or studying, or a new baby? And the result? After only 7 days, the men's testosterone levels had tanked by 10 to 15%. And testosterone is so important for energy, for focus, for keeping your muscles and bones strong. So here's the kicker. The researchers calculated that this drop in testosterone is the biological equivalent of aging 10 to 15 years. Just let that sink in for a second. 1 single week of bad sleep had the same impact on this vital hormone as a decade and a half of just living your life. All right, so we've seen how stress and sleepless nights can slam the accelerator on aging. It sounds kind of bleak, right? But the good news is the research also shows us exactly where to find the brakes. One of the biggest physical signs of getting older is this thing called sarcopenia. It's just a fancy word for the natural loss of muscle and strength that starts around age 35. It makes everything feel harder and raises the risk for falls. But here's the key. It is not inevitable. We can absolutely fight back. So how do we do it? Well, research from the National Institute on Aging gives us a pretty clear roadmap. It starts with just knowing what to expect for your age and setting realistic goals. Aiming for about 150 minutes of moderate activity a week with a couple of strength workouts thrown in. From there, it's all about making movement a routine, maybe adding some yoga for balance. And this is the most important part, finding stuff you actually enjoy doing so you'll stick with it. And that last point is really the secret sauce.
As Dr. Roger Fielding, one of the top researchers in this field, says, it's not about forcing yourself to do workouts you hate. It's about finding movement you genuinely like and connecting it to a goal that matters to you, like being strong enough to play with your grandkids. So, we've looked at the hidden forces, we've seen how to push back. Let's boil it all down. What are the essential things to take away from all this? Here's the whole story in 4 key points. First, and most importantly, your biological age is not set in stone. You can change it. Second, stress from your past can leave a very real, measurable mark on your cells today. Third, everyday habits like skimping on sleep can age you at a truly unbelievable speed. And finally, simple, consistent things, especially strength training, are your most powerful weapons to hit the brakes and slow that whole process down. Look, at the end of the day, the message from all this research is actually one of empowerment. You can't go back in time and change the past, of course, but the choices you make today, how you handle stress, how much you prioritize sleep, how you move your body, they have a profound power to shape the health of your cells and totally influence your biological future.
So now you know. You know about the invisible forces that can speed up or slow down your internal clock. The only question left is, what's the first step you're going to take to become the master of your own time?